that sort of opened up my interest. I was always interested in like social determinants of health and minorities getting their health care. But this sort of confirmed it, and sort of seeing it in real time with the real procedure, with the real people, definitely confirmed my interest that I sort of want to make a change in social determinants of health and make sure nothing is stopping you from getting the healthcare that you deserve. So that was very interesting as well. And then, like I said, I got to see the actual Northwestern program in action, meet students, see how they learn. They do something called PBL, which is pretty much learning, but more hands-on. They pretty much will get a fake patient, try to order labs and things of that nature for that patient and see what they should diagnose them with. So it's more hands-on than a lot of other programs. I really enjoyed that. An amazing experience. I couldn't have asked for a better summer, and it sort of prepared me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Career Education Learning Center podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Rivers. I am thrilled and excited to have Nevin Adams on our show today. Nevin is a student at the University of Illinois. How you doing today, Nevin?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be on with you, Mitchell.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure having you on today. Nevin, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your journey to your educational plans thus far.
Yeah, so as Mitchell said, I'm a student at the University of Illinois. I came in biomedical engineering, and I sort of transferred into the healthcare field. And what that looked like was I was sort of deciding to decide between the medical field or PA, and I ended up going with PA for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, the past couple of years, I've just been sort of building up my experiences, getting a lot of leadership, mentorship, patient care experience. Last summer, I did some research and shadowing at Northwestern. And yeah, so I'm currently a medical assistant in rheumatology. So I do a lot with rooming patients, getting their vitals, their chief complaint. And rheumatology deals a lot with inflammation. So I'm learning a lot there. And I plan on applying to PA school this upcoming cycle.
Oh, man. So what year are you going to be this year? We're taking this now in the summer, y'all. And so what year are going to be next year? Junior, senior, what class?
So I'm going into my senior year, so this will be my last year.
And so when you chose University of Illinois, have that always been your passion to go there?
So that's actually a good question. I was deciding between a couple of schools. So U of I, University of Florida, and University of Michigan were probably my top three schools. I think the biggest reason I chose U of I was just financially, it was a better decision for me. University of Michigan is very expensive out of state. I think it's around $60,000 a year, and they didn't give many scholarships to out-of-state students. And University of Florida, it was around $25,000 a year, I believe, with scholarships. And at U of I, I'm pretty much going for free. So that was one of those decisions. I really wanted to go to Florida. I really didn't want to come to U of I because my whole family went to U of I. My grandpa, my mom, my brother went to U of I. So I wanted to do something different. But I sort of just had to make a decision that was best for me and not really what I wanted to do. But coming here was definitely an amazing decision. U of I is great. You have every resource that you could think of. And it was definitely the right choice for me. Just being close to home as well makes things much easier. So yeah, I definitely am happy with my choice here.
But never, and that happened to a lot of us, you know. We had hopes of going to one university, and because of economics or because maybe a family member got sick or for one reason or another, we choose a university that we have to attend. Mine was economics too. My mom, I went to community college first, and then I transferred to UNC Pembroke, and I only had two other universities to go to. I think it was A&T University of Pembroke and another one. And then it was Pembroke State University. And it came down to economics. It came down to cost. And it said, this is where you're going, okay? And so in hindsight, I would say sometimes that financial decision seemed to be the best decision. I cannot imagine going to any other university than University of North Carolina Pembroke. I enjoyed myself. I got the best education, great professors, great friends, and It's been a choice that I made that I've come to enjoy going to community college first and then going there. Now, I was having a transition trouble, and I knew I would trying to go to a big university. And so that's why I chose a community college first. Did you have a transitional or challenge going from high school to college?
So I definitely wanted to go to a big university. I just loved the options that provided me with, but it was definitely a challenge coming into college academically, just because of the rigor compared to high school. It's night and day, especially in the STEM field when you're taking those hard science classes like chemistry and biology coming in. But yeah, it was a big adjustment. And the biggest thing that I can say that would help a student in that situation is just building a community and finding others in that similar system, because everybody is in the same boat coming in, especially my class, because we came in right after COVID. So we weren't used to really studying hard or anything. So I had to sort of find my community, find my people within my field. And that helped me a lot just with studying, because a lot of people, we had the same classes. You know, when you're taking these chemistry courses, a lot of people are pre-med, pre-PA, pre-dent, pre-pharmacy, pre-PT. So we're all taking the same sort of prerequisite courses. So finding that pre-health community sort of helped me a lot. And then also getting involved with MAPS, which is the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students at the U of I, just helped me find other people who look like me, who are trying to do the same thing. And just building a sense of community is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that is one thing. When you go to a college, whether it's big or small, it's good to get involved, especially with organizations. And a lot of times, if you can get involved with organizations that you're majoring in, and then you hang around other people that's the same major, it makes the big campus that you go to a little smaller, a little more tolerable to go to when you have those big classes and that big atmosphere, than when you know somebody there. And then if you go with people who with you going through the same thing, especially academically and socially, then it helps ease the pain a little bit. I didn't say make it easier, which it does, but it does ease the pain a little bit. And also group studying. Nevin, there was a study one time that found out that students who group study in college especially do a whole lot better than students who try to go in by themselves. And so that group study helps a lot. You get ideas, you pick up things that maybe different study habits that they have or techniques that they have that help you understand certain subjects and certain chapters that you may not come across and like, I just don't understand that. And sometimes it's your peer that can help you more than your professor. And so I think it's fantastic how you got together with other students and y'all learn that, hey, as a group, we can do much better here, and finding that niche there. Did you always want to be into the medical field or any type of STEM field? Is that what you always want to be, or that just like, hey, that's what I'm going to go into? Yeah,
I bounced around a lot, to be honest. I was definitely looking more towards the engineering side of things. Like I was saying, I came in biomedical engineering, and I also looked at business. My brother does finance, so I looked into finance, accounting, those type of things. But what it really came down to for me was those other things didn't feel real to me in a sense. And what I mean by that is money matters, engineering matters. All the things we have around us are from money, from engineering, but you're nothing without your health. And that's one thing sort of made me gravitate towards healthcare, because it's the one thing that without health, like, none of that other stuff matters. So obviously finance and all that, we need it to live the life that we want to live. But being in the medical field and just being able to be with someone during some of the darkest times of their life and turning that into some of the brightest times of their life, that's just unbeatable to me. So I knew the medical field would be for me.
Yes, you cannot do anything about your health. As people who has gone through some sickness and other areas there, I know I've had problems with my back before lots of times and other areas there. And as you get older, Nevin, you will find out that health is important. And you were right. That without that health, you can do nothing. And it's always going to be there. And especially in the African-American community where health is always lacking, right? The lack of healthcare is lacking in the area there. And I talked to some past guests about the healthcare within the African-American community. Is it improving? And we're trying to attract more young people to go in the healthcare field. Do you have any suggestions or any things that you can think about that can help gravitate young people toward the medical field, which is needed in our communities?
Yeah, I think it's all a chain reaction. So getting people who are like my age to get into the medical field, that's going to create representation for the next generation. Because just going to the doctor now, I've never had a doctor that looks like me. That sort of makes it difficult for some people. Like I obviously overcame that, but it makes it difficult for some people to see themselves in a situation where they haven't really seen someone who looks like them. So I think representation is extremely important, and just knowing that, because a lot of people are turned off by STEM because it seems so hard or whatever. But once you get out of that mindset and just sort of go for it, there's nothing that you can't do. So I think just more people getting into STEM, getting into medicine is just going to create a chain reaction, and it's just going to snowball.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. A lot of times, if we don't see ourselves or see someone who looks like us in a certain field or a certain area, it can be, I wouldn't say a hindrance, but it can be like, okay, well, maybe that's not possible for me because I look like that person, or I don't look like that person. There's nobody in that field there. And knowing that there's been many pioneers throughout the years that have overcome that and say, hey, there may not be people who look like me in that field or in that area or play that sport, but that's what I want to do and pursue it anyway. And so I want to encourage young people, maybe a field that you go into that people don't look like you, or that you may not be big enough or small enough, or either have the economics to go into, hey, pursue it anyway. I think if you have your passion for something, you can really pursue it and go for it. And so I want to encourage our young people to go for it in different fields that you may not see people who look like you, hey, are in. And so do you do any, you said you did some internships. Did you do some internships or you've been thus far, Nevin?
Yeah, so my main internship was last summer at Northwestern Medicine. Pre-physician assistant internship, where I was able to shadow and do some research in interventional radiology, and also be immersed within their medical program there. And so the shadowing was very unique. I got to shadow a different department pretty much every day. So it was 4 days a week. 2 days out of the week we shadowed. Another 2 days out of the week we did research. In those 2 days of shadowing, I saw orthopedic surgery, neuro-oncology, emergency medicine. I pretty much saw everything, interventional radiology. So that really exposed me to some things and allowed me to sort of narrow down, hey, this is what I'm sort of interested in. This is what I thought I was interested in, but I'm not interested in anymore. And just some examples of that. I was always interested in orthopedic, sports medicine, and then seeing that sort of confirmed my interest. And then something that I didn't know I was interested in was oncology. And I saw that and I was like, hey, like maybe there's something I could see myself doing. So I think shadowing is one of the best things you could do if you want to get into the medical field. And then as far as research, as I was saying, I researched in interventional radiology, which was a great experience. I was researching a procedure called TIPS, which is for people who have portal hypertension, which is in the liver. A lot of cirrhosis and alcoholism in that field. So you pretty much use a stent to connect the portal and hepatic vein to redirect blood flow. And pretty much I had to go through patients' charts and figure out why some people were coming in with complications after the procedure and what was different about them opposed to the other people. And a lot of things lined up with the patients, but I pretty much figured out that a lot of people they were coming back into the emergency room. They weren't having their follow-up appointments. So I pretty much deduced it to social determinants of health, whether that be communication, they weren't picking up the phone to schedule their follow-up appointment, or transportation, they couldn't get here, just things like that. So that sort of opened up my interest. I was always interested in like social determinants of health and minorities getting their health care. But this sort of confirmed it, and sort of seeing it in real time with the real procedure, with the real people, definitely confirmed my interest, that I sort of want to make a change in social determinants of health and make sure that nothing is stopping you from getting the healthcare that you deserve. So that was very interesting as well. And then, like I said, I got to see the actual Northwestern program in action, meet students, see how they learn. They do something called PBL, which is pretty much learning, but more hands-on. They pretty much will get a fake patient and try to order labs and things of that nature for that patient and see what they should diagnose them with. So it's more hands-on than a lot of other programs. So I really enjoyed that. But it was an amazing experience. I couldn't have asked for a better summer, and it sort of prepared me for the rest of my journey.
Yeah, I think that's why internships are so important. I appreciate a lot here on the Career Education Learning Center. I was not able to do an internship per se. My internship, Nevin, my internship was in Desert Storm, 1991, and I was a clerk. And so there's not too many jobs. Well, there is, but that's not what I want to be in what I call civilian life, was to be a clerk. But that's why I stress that, because I would love to have done some type of financing or something in banking and finance, which I end up becoming a banking and finance person. But it took a while to get to that journey. I think internships would have helped me jumpstart my career earlier. And like you said before, another thing that also help you doing an internship is find out what you do and don't like. And it confirm you. A lot of times I talk to past students and they confirm what they didn't want to do. They went to an internship. They say they want to go to be a doctor, or they want to go be an engineer or finance or something. And they find out this is not right for me, And it's good to find out early in your journey, right? Rather than graduate, get your career, and then find out, oh, this is not what I want to do. So I think the internships serve you well. I think it's really going to enhance your jump start to really what you want to do. And it's great. Do you also do any type of volunteering while you're at school? Tell us about any volunteering that you're able to do.
Yeah, so I'm currently volunteering with an organization called Avicenna, and we pretty much provide free healthcare for the underserved communities. So I'm an outreach volunteer. So a lot of what I do is going out in these communities that need the services and sort of providing our information. So we have like a free eye clinic, women's health clinic. We also have Shelter Med, which is where we go to a homeless shelter a couple of times a month. And we actually have a physician come in, we check them in, have them fill out some forms, and the physician is actually able to see them for free, no copay, no ID, nothing required. So we have a primary care physician for that. And I think that's just amazing, because a lot of people don't have healthcare, and it's just hard it's just a basic human right. Like, I know it's hard, like financially, for money or whatever, to make healthcare free for everybody. But I just feel like it's such an essential human right. So yeah, that's my main volunteering. And we also do like free blood pressure screenings, blood glucose screenings, just basic things that everyone should have. And especially in the Champaign community, a lot of people just don't know about their health, or don't know that they should be going to a yearly physical. And I also see that within the Black community a lot. Like, we put things off, and sometimes we're scared. It's because we're scared, because we don't want to see something that we don't want to see. And we're just like, oh, we rather just live with it. And if we're in pain, then we come in. But we need to be very cognizant of our health, because it's so much easier to prevent something before it happens than waiting till something happens, and trying to fix it after, put a Band-Aid on it, because preventative care is the best care you can get.
And I agree with that. I was just going to come with that question. You must be reading my mind at the same time we're doing this podcast, Nevin. Is that, yeah, preventive care is very important. I think a couple of things that you said even earlier is that patients, they weren't following up, patients that had transportation, and all that deal with public health and with the hospitals and with the clinics, all kind of intertwine with one another. And they all go back to preventive health, right? If we can get people to get their yearly checkups, whether dental or physical checkups, right? If we can get people that when you feel something right away, get checked out. Don't wait and say, oh, I'm in pain. I'll wait a month, wait in pain. Then it gets worse. It can get to where it's unreversible or irreversible, right? We catch any type of cancer or any type of a disease that you have early enough, then we can treat it, and then it's treatable. And then you have to go through the drastic step or surgery or any other things that you might have to do that unfortunately could have been prevented if you had gone to a doctor or seen a dentist earlier, right? And so I think information has to be out there, and it is. And then just helping people knowing, go to the doctor. And I think what you do in volunteer really does help. It definitely is a public policy. Healthcare is. I think it's a basic human needs right, like you do and like most people do. Is just that in America, we have to find a way, and I said this many times in this program, to merge where companies can make money, and at the same time we can get healthcare costs down and keep it down for everyone. And that's definitely a political issue. It's a public issue. It's one where we have to come together and really press and put it as like, this is number one. This is top priority. But it has not been a top priority because we get used to doing the same thing over and over again. And then we throw Band-Aids, as you said earlier. So we'll throw a Band-Aid. Hey, they volunteer here. They do this. We got free clinics here and there. So we don't need to do anything else with healthcare. And I think you've seen firsthand that you really do. How much being in associations, how much has that helped you thus far in your career? Part of any type of associations you're with?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely one of the biggest things that I've involved myself with. Just being in different organizations throughout the years, different leadership positions. I would say my freshman year, I was very involved with, like I was saying, the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students. And that turned into my sophomore year. I was elected vice president of that organization, and the president actually stepped down. So I was the president of that. I was the president of that organization as a sophomore. And I was pretty much like the face of medicine for Black families. So that was extremely difficult because not only did I have to portray myself a certain way, I had to learn how to communicate to people. I had to learn about all the pre-health fields in depth because I couldn't be given a presentation and then not answer a question, right? So I had to be very well versed in pre-med, pre-PA, pre-PT, pre-nursing, everything pretty much, because that was the year that we sort of opened it up to all health professions, not just pre-medical students. So I had to be well-versed in every field. I had to pretty much just learn how to lead an organization, which was extremely hard because I was balancing that with one of my hardest academic years where I was taking anatomy and physiology, organic chemistry, things of that nature. So it was a very tough year and definitely a turning point in my academic, professional, personal growth because I sort of had to learn how to balance things. Whereas my freshman year, I was in organizations, but having a leadership position and being in an organization, or more so being president over an organization versus just being in an organization, are two completely different things. So I had to learn how to balance things. And that first semester was very tough for me. I didn't know what to put my all into, so I struggled. But I just had to live and learn pretty much. But it ended up being a successful year. Definitely had a lot of people come out to meetings, taught a lot of people different things, helped a lot of people. So that was my main thing sophomore year. And then last year, I started up, which is now considered a job. I was a pre-health ambassador for the Career Center at the U of I. So pretty much the Career Center has a pre-health sector specifically for pre-health students. So we have students representing each field. So we had pre-med ambassadors, pre-PA ambassadors, pre-PT ambassadors for everything. So I was one of the pre-PA ambassadors, and I pretty much hosted meetings. I had drop-in hours where people could schedule to meet with me if they wanted advising. I was also just doing drop-in advising at the Career Center. So that was one of my main things last year as well. And then I was also a mentor for 100 Strong, which is for incoming African-American freshmen on campus who are just seeking guidance. And then just a couple of other organizations that I was in. And then this upcoming year, I was also on another executive board, IHIL, which is another pre-health organization, just more general. And next year I'll be on another executive board for an organization. So I've definitely tried to be involved, tried to pay it forward. I think that's one of the biggest things that I try to do, because I know people were in the same situation that I was in just a couple of years ago. And there's no point in me withholding knowledge from people, especially people that look like me. Like we were saying, we're trying to get that funnel going. We're trying to get more and more people into healthcare look like us. So I'm just trying to make sure that that's as easy as possible for people on campus, and everybody has the resources they need, because sometimes people don't feel comfortable going to these big organizations where they might be one of 2 or 3 Black people in the room. So having those spaces that people feel comfortable in, those diverse spaces, is just so important for students.
Yeah, I totally agree, and there's no doubt about that. That if we can make people feel comfortable, and especially when you come in something new, it helps a whole lot. And also, and it's so funny when you said that, because I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and we were talking about the same thing: is passing that knowledge down. And since we're a little older than you, Nevin, we think it's coming from my generation. Are we passing the knowledge and the things and the resources that we have down to our next generation? And that's one of the things that we want to address as African-American men, especially, that's at least 50 and over. Are we passing down what we have, the resources, before our time comes? You know, one of the things being here on earth here is like, okay, you do your job, right? You do your assignment, what the Lord wants you to do, but within that assignment, what you do, we also want you to, help the next generation. Each generation before us help the next generation to become comfortable, to have the resources, and to be able to obtain stuff and knowledge that you was not able to attain, maybe through certain barriers or challenges. And so I think that's very important what you're doing. I'm so proud of you, man. I know you've been through a lot. You sound like you've been through a lot, but it's made you a better person. It made you more of a whole person. And sometimes when we have challenges, it brings out something that we didn't know we had. And from talking to you, it brought out a lot that sophomore year that you didn't know that was inside of you. And we're proud of that, man. Do you have any parting words for our young people that may be watching this show?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is to just go for it. Whatever it is, whatever that may be, just go for it. Because especially being young with no strings attached to things, there's no reason to not go for it. So that's my biggest thing to the youth.
All righty. Well, I tell you what, Nev, I really enjoyed this podcast. It's been a joy meeting you, and for my audience to listen to you also. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Nevin.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Definitely enjoyed myself. Glad I could spread a little bit of my journey.
You did, and I'm proud of it, man. I can't wait to see the next 5 years where you'll be. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for joining me, Mitchell Rivers, on the Career Education Learning Center podcast, where we're making your career dreams a reality. God bless. Oh, one other thing, viewers and listeners, you can also catch a segment I got a new segment on WDRBmedia.com, to where I also have segments talking about careers and have leaders in the community talking about how they can help out within the community and lead our young people. So that's every Thursday at 11:30 to 11:45 in WDRBmedia.com. Take care and God bless.